Jó reggelt kívánok! Hogy vagy, jó? Start of another day. And, hmm, boy, it's a little bit late. I'm getting a late start. It's about 6:30 in the morning. And, getting a late start because I got to bed late. I must have, turned off the light, or probably closed my eyes, I should say, right at about midnight. Interestingly enough, I heard a study some time back. I'm big on studies. I like studies. There's something to be said about research and science and all that kind of stuff. And the study that I heard some time back was the ideal amount of sleep for a person is 7 hours, or the optimal ideal. Uh, but the optimal amount of sleep is 7 hours. And I've tried to adjust to that. I try. A lot of times I'll go to bed at 9 and try to wake up at 4, which will be my 7 hours. But now that's not including my afternoon nap. I always take an afternoon nap. I don't know why it is, but usually when I'm at home or I'm working or something like that, just like clockwork, about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I settle in for a nice nap, and I always set the alarm for 47 minutes. I don't know why 47 and not 46 or 49, or 43, but I always set the alarm for 47 minutes. It's kind of like you're driving through a community and they come up with this, 12 mile an hour speed limit. And it's like, where the heck did they get 12 miles an hour? What are they talking about, 12 miles an hour? Why isn't it 15 or 20 or some even number, or something like that? But, oh, goodness gracious. I was going back and forth last night with, in the messages with John, up north, and about whether or not I should be hiring somebody to do this work for me, or I should be doing it myself. And like I replied to him, while I can still pound a nail, while I can still turn a screw, and while I can still stroke a brush, then I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. There's something to be said about doing a job yourself. There really is. I mean, there's something to be said about doing a job yourself. I didn't walk into this kitchen this morning. I didn't, if I had paid somebody to paint this kitchen, I wouldn't have walked into this kitchen this morning, turned on the light, looked at the beautiful color of yellow that I think it was Melissa and Oksana, encouraged me to paint it. I wouldn't have walked into this kitchen, turned on the light, and think, wow, I did this. This looks nice. I did this. And, if I had paid somebody, I wouldn't have walked in and said, damn, look at this. I paid somebody to do this. No, you know, it doesn't work that way. Not that you can't take satisfaction in having something done for you, because you can, but it's not the same sense of satisfaction when you do something yourself and you do it well. So anyway, but that's that. And then the discussion of cheapsake. I don't know. Anyway, but hmm, the talk of me being cheap, doing the work because I don't want to spend the money. You know, there's not there's I don't even know how to reply to that. I mean, I'm sitting here, as I was painting last night, as I was painting last night, listening to a little country music by John Denver. As I was painting last night, I found myself thinking, about being called cheap. And it was just this year that I walked into a car dealership in Omaha, Nebraska, and wrote a check for almost $70,000 and walked out with a beautiful truck. I don't think that's being cheap. I don't. I flew somebody from Europe. I flew somebody from Europe and gave her the trip of possibly the trip of her lifetime. I hope it's not the trip of her lifetime. I hope she has other wonderful trips in her lifetime. But anyway, it's just you go back and forth with the cheap thing. And, at the end of the day, for me personally, it's about value. It's just about value, the value of something, whether you're going to get value from something. And for me, going out and going out and spending, 150, $200 or something like that on a meal. Okay. To me, it's not value. I mean, I'll talk all day long about, the ambiance and whatever. The last time I went out to dinner, I spent the better part of about $150, and we sat on a beach. The dining table was on a beach, and they served me my plate, and my plate had about 8 little pieces of beef, about yay big, about dollar size, sliced. Eight little pieces of beef. It had a potato that had been shredded, like grated, and then deep fried or something, and it came in a big mound. Like, how the hell am I supposed to eat this? And I think about 4 pieces of asparagus. And I'm looking at that, and I'm saying to myself, I paid $40 for this. I paid $40 for this. And there are those that would say, well, yes, but it's the ambiance. And as I sat there and thinking about that, the ambiance, I thought I could have got a frickin' beach chair. Stopped at the supermarket, got myself a nice sandwich, and walked out and sat on the beach for free, and and had the same ambiance. But anyway, it all comes down to value. It all comes down to value. Mm. And I'm not afraid to spend money if I think that I'm getting value for what I'm spending my money on. It's as simple as that. And different people have different ideas of value. And it's not to take anything away from them, but anyway. Boy, I miss Hungary. Came down to get my coffee this morning. I came down to get my coffee this morning, and I'm pouring myself a cup of coffee, and I'm looking at Hungary, and I'm thinking to myself, man, I miss Magyarország. Oh my goodness gracious. I miss and you know what? There's so much more to Hungary than Budapest. I miss the little villages, you know. I miss the, pulling into a small little village in Hungary, and and just the simple things in Hungary. Let me give you an example. Look at this right here. I don't know how well you can see this. I'm sure that there may be some of you out there like Etal or something are going to look at this and draw back memories. But you see this little thing here. These are chickens. They call them chirke, and there's a little ball hanging from the bottom. You see, and when you turn this thing around, You see that? Isn't that isn't that something? You know, the simple things in life, you know, that's what you get a lot over in Majorozag. You know, it's in a lot of those places. It's the simple things. You know, the little kids aren't always inside, you know, playing glued to a big, you know, 72-inch 4K movie screen or something like that. They're they take satisfaction and enjoyment out of simple things, and maybe they've got their priorities right. You know, wasn't it my dad that it was my dad that put the Shaker hymn in my Bible that says, "'Tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free, 'tis a gift to come down to where we ought to be." And when we find ourselves in a place just right, we'll be in the valley of love and delight. And and anyway, what else is on my mind? The hmm, you know yesterday I put up a comment about buying some used stuff. You know, buying some used stuff, and I think it was also John. John, I'm sorry to call you out, but you know, when you put these comments on the videos, then you know you're sharing your thoughts with everyone anyway. But John was saying that it was gross. You know, gross to buy other people's things, and you know, I mean, you got to use a little common sense. You know, when it comes to life and such things, you got to use a little bit of common sense. I mean, and what I mean by that is, you know, there's nothing wrong with going out and buying something that is used per se. You know, you know, I mean, I look around my kitchen, you know, and I could see you know, I could see my toaster. You know, is there anything wrong with buying a used toaster? You know, is there anything wrong with, you know, buying a used dining table? Is there anything wrong with, you know, buying a used bicycle? I guess where a lot of people have the problem is buying something that's used that is more personal of nature. You know, more personal of nature, and you know, like for example, clothes. You know, or even, you know, or a bed, you know, maybe a bed. You know, I don't know that I would rush out tomorrow and buy, you know, a mattress that somebody else has been, you know, sleeping on or doing God knows what on. I don't know that I would do that. You know, that's where a little common sense comes in. But you know what? There's some people in the world that have to do that. They don't have much of a choice in doing that. And you know, to throw something out there that, you know, that's gross. You know, when there's people that are in dispositions in life where they have to do something like that, you know, and then they've got to go through they go through life not only in such a disposition, but they have to go through in life in such a disposition thinking that other people think that what they're doing is gross, you know. And and I don't know. It's just a little common sense. And when I go out online and I look, you know, at some of the stuff that I want to buy, I could very easily go out and spend, you know, $4,500 on a new sectional. You know, is buying a used car gross? I don't know. People sit on it all the time. You know, they're sitting in this. Is that John? Is buying a used car gross? I mean, because for all intent and purpose, you got that seat in there. You know, and people, they're just, you know, I mean, if you buy a used car, it's like 5 years old. I mean, they've been sitting in that seat for 5 years, that same seat. And then you're going to be sitting in that seat. I don't know. Maybe buying a used car would fall under the classification of gross. Hmm. I don't know. Folks, just use some common sense in life. You know, just use a little common sense. But anyway, sorry to rip on you, John. Sorry to rip on you, but anyway, there was a time in my life going back. There was a time in my life when I got out of the military. I was a medical specialist in the military, and they used to call me Doc. Some people used to call me a pecker checker. That's what I was, a pecker checker. But I won't go down that road. But anyway, I got out of the military and I got a job doing in-home nursing. I was taking care of, I was a cook originally, but I got a job for a nursing agency. And I used to go in people's homes and take care of them at the bright age of 20, 21. And, I got to tell you, I look back on my life. Life is hindsight is 2020. And you look back over the course of your lifetime and you see things clearly that, really, really went a long way in defining who you are, who you are today. And when I was working for that nursing agency, I used to go into the homes of people that, had I took care of a lot of people with Alzheimer's, took care of a lot of people with Parkinson's, had a patient once who had set himself on fire and used kerosene instead of gasoline. Um, I took care of a lot of people. Took care of a lot of people. But the one person that stands out in my mind, her name was Gladys. Her name was Gladys. Bless her heart. And Gladys, at the time I was taking care of her, was probably well into her 80s, and she had Alzheimer's, really bad Alzheimer's. And she wasn't really a violent person. Sometimes Alzheimer's patients can become quite violent. But Gladys's husband, he resolved himself, and I think he spent his life, and he loved her so much that he never wanted her to see the inside of a nursing home. He never wanted her. He never wanted to see Gladys. He never wanted Gladys to see the inside of a nursing home. And I used to go over and take care of Gladys at night, and and there were times that at night, that I would try to catch a few a few winks of shut eye, so to speak. And the thing that I remember that time in my life. I remember that time in my life very well. I used to go to the. I was trying to make it in real estate back then. I was trying to make it in real estate, and and I went back. I went back. I would go to the Goodwill store, and I would buy suits. I would buy suits for like $5 or $10. Two-piece suits with a jacket and a pair of pants, and they had to be the right length. They had to fit me. They had to fit me well, and I think I would buy dress shirts as well. And I used to spend Sunday nights, when I would go to Gladys's house, I would sit there and I would use the opportunity because for a lot of that time I was sleeping out of my car. And I remember when would Sunday nights when I would work at Gladys's, I would do my laundry. And I was okay. I was allowed to do my laundry. I would do my laundry and then I would iron everything. And I would open up the trunk of my car and I would meticulously lay it down. I would say, okay, this is what I'm going to wear Friday. And that would go on the bottom. Thursday would be next up, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. And in the trunk of my car, I had laid out what I was going to wear for the week. And that was life for me. That was how I lived. You do what you need to do in life to survive. You do what you need to do in life to survive. And so for people that look at me, and they think that I'm cheap, they think that I'm this, they think that I'm that, you know, you've got to see the whole picture. I try to go through life not outwardly criticizing people. I try. I don't always succeed, but I try to keep my opinion to myself more times than not. I think it was Benjamin Franklin that once said, I will speak ill of no man, but good of all men. That's one of the greatest quotes that I've ever heard. I will speak ill of no man, but good of all men. Isn't that a great quote? So, anyway, time to get on with my day. And you know what? I have a goal today. I'll tell you what, let me show you what that goal is, if I may turn this camera around here. Even though it was late last night, I thought to myself, I'm not going to come down to a dirty kitchen. Well, I got a little bit of clutter over there. But even though it was late last night, I thought I am not coming down to a dirty kitchen. I could probably give you a nicer view of this little thing right here. You see that? Isn't that cute? I don't know how many forinth I paid for that little thing. They call those jerky or something like that. You see? Really something else. But anyway, I have a goal for the day. You know what my goal of the day today is? I'm going to, by the day's end, this wall is going to be painted, that wall is going to be painted, and that little alcove wall is going to be painted. I'm going to get out the baking soda and the hydrogen peroxide, and I'm going to clean all the grout lines of the tile floor. And then tonight, I'm going to have my TV sitting right there, and I'm going to put on the LSU Alabama game, and I'm going to have myself a nice dinner, and I'm going to watch the number 1 and number 2 college football teams play each other. That's the goal for today, is to have that. And I got to get that ladder. You see, because I gotta finish cutting that in. But boy, I think this is going to look nice. I'd almost thought one of my neighbors has a little alcove like this, and he had a mural painted in there. That would be a interesting thing, to have a nice mural, painted in there. You could probably buy, I would be willing to bet, if you Google mural wallpaper or something like that, But anyway, so that's about it. I'll leave you with this thought real quick. I wish I had more time in the day, to do the things that pop into my mind. And yesterday I just had this brilliant idea. And the brilliant idea is this: for those of you that have access to a computer or a pen or something like that, write this down. But one of the aspects of my job is doing marketing, doing advertising on Google. I spend about 15 to 20,000 a month on advertising. And one facet of advertising is called display advertising. You ever go to a website, and then for the next week or two, these little banner ads, they just follow you around everywhere? These little ads, they pop up, and you think, damn, they're following me. Well, that's one of the things that I do. And one of the biggest challenges that my clients have is not necessarily finding cars to fix, but finding people to fix those cars. Finding people to work for them is one of the biggest challenges that you can have. And oftentimes when they need people, and oftentimes they always need people, they go to websites like Indeed.com or SimplyHired.com or any one of a number of places. So yesterday, a light went on over my head. And I thought, why not just develop an effective banner ad campaign, a display ad campaign, and make some nice little banners that you're hiring, you know, join our team, you know, expert mechanics wanted, you know, great benefits, 4-day work, whatever, you know, make some beautiful, beautiful banner ads that show up on the Fox News app or show up on weather.com or show up on, you know, whatever. And if you want to see a series of these ads that I developed, not for the employment, but go to www.abcautocare.com/ad, ad, the number one, .jpg, John Paul Golf. So just go to abcautocare.com/ad, the number one, .jpg, and then you can also do ad 2 and ad 3, and look at those ads. And those are all the ads from different campaigns. But so I started calling some of my clients. I started calling some of my clients and saying, "Hey, Gary, what do you think about this? Hey, Ron, what do you think about this? You know, Lee, you think this is a good idea?" And time and time and time again, it was, "This is brilliant. That's brilliant." You reach the people. So a guy, you know, a guy from a competitor down the street is sitting at Wendy's doing his lunch. He gets a phone call, and a buddy wants to go fishing tomorrow. So he goes to he pulls up weather.com on his phone, and he's looking to see the weather forecast, and he sees an ad with the logo of the competitor down the street that says "Join our team, 4-day work week." You know, and he clicks on it, and he goes to my client's website, and he applies for a job, you know. So anyway, the long story short is, you know, you take an effort like that, where I've got you know, a captive audience, so to speak, and you develop something like that, and you charge like $500 to set it up, and then you charge $50 a month, you know, or $100 a month, whatever it is, to manage it. And then you take it over to Facebook and you start advertising on Facebook. But anyway, I've probably gone way over my time today. I need to get on with my day and let you do the same. Alexa, what's the question of the day?
Good morning. Here is today's question of the day. The topic is history. It is worth 2 points. The historic quote, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind," was first spoken in which year? You can choose from 1966, 1969, 1971, or 1973.
What is 1969?
Nicely done. You have earned your 10th history badge.
I
and 2
remember it
points.
well, 1969, when they stepped on the moon. I was all of 5 years old. I was playing down at Michael Fitzsimon's house. And my mom said, "Tommy, come home quickly. Man is going to walk on the moon." And I had my little GI Joe. I had my little GI Joe with the astronaut outfit on in my hand as I walked back up the street to watch Neil Armstrong, you know, say one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. But anyway, with all that being said, I need to get on with my day. And you know what? I appreciate all of you that that support me and give me the words of encouragement. See, what are the kind of curious to see what the comments are on the video here. Well, of course, Tom, if you are able to, why pay someone to do it alone, and you can feel good about yourself? We do our decorating ourselves. We can afford to pay a decorator, but we enjoy doing it. Isn't that the truth, Colette? There's a paintbrush holder that attaches to the end of the paint roller extension handle for cutting in high ceiling corners. Get out of here. Is there really? I'll go down to the store and take a look at it. All right, folks. Have a great day. Take good care.